Welcome to Building a Powerhouse Brand. I'm Jacquie Laws, brand strategist, mentor, designer, author and founder of brand agency Bailey & Rue. My mission for this podcast is to support other women to build a magnetic personal brand and a business that allows you to have both financial and time freedom. Building your personal brand is not just about those visuals, it's about setting the stage as the real you and a magnet for those dream clients. Join me and my incredible guests as I dive into the strategies, insights, and stories behind building a successful brand. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a marketer, or simply intrigued by brand building, this podcast is your roadmap to success. Tune in each week as I explore branding, innovation, and influence, and join me on this adventure as we unleash the power of personal branding. Visit baileyandrue.com for more insights and follow me on Instagram at baileyandrue. This is Becoming a Powerhouse Brand. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Becoming a Powerhouse Brand. I am so excited today because I wanted to talk about something that is really important to me, and it's also something that I think needs to be addressed in this online entrepreneurial world. So I was at a wedding yesterday and it was a couple of hours drive there and back, or each way rather. And whilst I was driving, I always listen to podcasts. It's my favorite time to tune in to my favorite podcast, whichever one that may be. Maybe it's mindset, manifestation, like business. It's always related to things that are going to help me grow my personal brand myself and really empower me to go and do things, take action that's going to help me to progress in my journey as an entrepreneur, to improve like my mothering skills, like whatever it is. I just find it a really good time to listen to a podcast when I'm completely switched off from the outside world. I'm driving in the car on my own, no distractions or anything. Also, it keeps me awake when I'm driving at night. Like it just made me, I was just so like excited absorbing all this information from the podcast I listened to yesterday. And it's also when I get my best ideas for content that I want to create and my own podcast episodes. So I actually pulled over multiple times on the journey there and back yesterday, with all these different ideas that I wanted to do for a podcast. And although I already had like my next few episodes mapped out, I came to the idea of doing this one and I just thought I actually want to prioritize doing this episode over all of the others at the moment because I just think it's a really good one. It's a juicy one to get into. So what I wanted to talk about today is having a desire for more and how to some that may be a negative thing or maybe seen as being greedy or not seeing what you have as enough and always like needing that like more basically and not being satisfied. But for me, it's what makes me like who I am. I have always, my entire life, had a desire for wanting more. I knew that there was something out there like that I wanted to be doing, and even in terms of when I was at school, like always wanted to be doing more. Being told that I would only get a job in the creative industry if I went on to university, and me knowing for a fact that that wasn't the case, I could make my own path to success in a creative role. Like I was just so determined and driven to create my own path on my journey. Um, and that then led me on to all of the jobs that I then had from that point. Like I was just always had this underlying thing of feeling like I needed more. Like every manager I worked under, I always would sort of take myself back, and like the end of the day, I would go home and talk to my family or my husband or then fiance, boyfriend, whatever he was at that point, and be talking about like, oh my God, I could just do that job. Like there's other ways of doing it, and I just feel like I would be better doing this, that, and the other, and just always feeling like there was more. Like I've always put 110% into absolutely everything I've done, and just really being focused on those end goals, and those end goals always changing and shifting. And when I became a mother and obviously I the opportunity to then go back to work, like it just wasn't an option at all. It was either I was given a choice of basically going back full time or not at all. There was no part-time role, like there was no flexible working. This was pre-COVID, so there just wasn't that flexibility there. So basically, I was forced out of a job that I really enjoyed doing because there wasn't that flexibility for me to go back and do a job that I was really passionate about doing. So I thought, like, right, I'm just going to take this as an opportunity. Like, I can be an amazing mum. I can be at home with the kids. Or obviously then it was just the one child. And that's what both of our mums had done. They were at home looking after us. They raised us, like, had obviously additional children, and that was just how things were. And it got to the point where I was just like, I love being a mum, and I still obviously love being a mum. But there was always this underlying desire for wanting more. Like I knew there was more to life than sitting at home with daytime TV on and changing nappies and going to baby clubs and all of these kind of things. And I did love doing all of that. I still love going and meeting up with other mum friends and doing things with the kids. And when I'm with the kids, like I'm fully with the kids. Like we have so much fun, we do crafting and all of those fun things, but I just always knew I wanted more. So when I set up my own business, it was just then like something clicked inside me. I knew that this is what my path was meant to be. I knew I was meant to go on and do my own thing. Like I just am not the sort of person that works well working under people. Like, I've always worked so hard. I've always been like the hardest worker in my team to the point where I would be achieving so much more but not getting that recognition. And that used to be really frustrating for me because I would just be thinking, well, I'm working so much harder than my peers, and yet why am I not getting that recognition there? Why am I not getting the promotions, like whatever it is? And I've just always been really driven by this desire for wanting more. So going into my entrepreneurial path really sort of ignited a fire within me. And I just, although my business has changed and evolved, I've sold a business, I've launched another, I've kind of not stepped away from it, but I'm just branching off into really growing my own personal brand. And even at this point in time, I'm still discovering exactly what it is that I want to be doing. And I just think there's never one set path. And this is why I always say to people, there's no one strategy that works for every business because every business is different. Every entrepreneur is different. Like we all have different mindsets, different blocks, different limiting beliefs, different goals, desires, like all of these things. And there is no one strategy that is going to fit and work for every single business. So this is why I love the one-to-one connection that I get with my clients when I'm working on a mentoring basis, because it means that I can create an experience that's completely tailored to that one person and helping them to achieve more. Like that is what I'm all about, is helping my clients to achieve more and have more in their life. Like it's not just a desire for myself to have more. Like I would love to have more clients and more wealth, more money, more freedom, like all of this stuff all the time. And even when I hit that next level of that next goal, I'm always then thinking, right, well, I want more of this, I want more of that. And for some people, like I said at the beginning of this episode, that can be seen as you're never fully satisfied or being greedy or whatever. And I think as a woman especially, like we were always brought up to be thinking, well, the men go out and work and the women are just kind of there to look after the children, and yes, you can have a successful career, but it's either career or child. Like there was never the option of having both, or it just wasn't talked about. And I think we really are the change makers. Like our generation are here to make this complete transformation and turn everything on its head, where we are showing, like women are showing now, that you can have a multi six, seven figure plus business and be an amazing mum at the same time. You don't have to choose work, being successful, having the money, the wealth, the freedom, like the lifestyle choices, or having children. Like you don't have to choose one or the other, which I think for a lot of people my age, like our parents had to very much, like the women had to choose if you were going to have a family or if you were going to go and work. Or if you did both, you were so stretched and burnt out because you were juggling low paying jobs, working part time with also trying to raise children and earn enough for childcare. Like it was that real contrast in, well, what are you going to choose? Like there just wasn't really that option. Um, and I just really wanted to talk more in detail about this desire for wanting more because it's something that a lot of my clients relate to and what people are quite often drawn to me for, because I'm always going for that next thing. Like my goals are always changing and shifting. And I think this is the amazing thing with being an entrepreneur, is you don't want to be, well, I personally don't want to be set in this comfortable, stagnant kind of path that, right, I've hit that success, amazing, I'm happy just with everything ticking over, making consistent whatever income months. and that's enough for me. Like I'll just have this kind of repetitive thing. And I think this is where I kind of outgrew my wedding stationery business because I'd got to the point where I was already charging way more than my peers were. I was already attracting the clients I wanted to work with on repeat. I was already a leader in my field. I had multi-award wins under my belt. But I just got to the point where I was like, I need more. Like, I don't want to just have this conveyor belt of, yes, they were amazing clients and amazing projects, but I just kind of not got burnt out, but I just, that creativity, the creative spark in me was just dimming. And this desire for wanting more to step away from this conveyor belt kind of system of my business was just then overtaking. And that's when I launched my brand agency, where I got to branch out and work with these amazing other people that all had different businesses. I was working with coaches and personal trainers and florists and cake designers and photographers, like all of these incredible people that had totally different businesses. Some of them were in a similar industry, but they all had different goals, different desires. So to be able to then support these people with helping them to achieve more from their life and their business really empowered me. And that's kind of how I went more into the mentoring side of things and the coaching, like bringing my knowledge and skills and expertise in both building brands and my knowledge of branding, as well as the business strategy, and rolling that all into one as like a combination of like incredible support that I can help my clients with. And I think this is a really powerful thing. Like when I'm having my sessions, particularly my one-to-one intensive sessions with my clients, I just feel that energy. Like people, there are so many women out there that just want more, and that is not a bad thing at all. I think it's a really empowering um sort of mindset to have. And I think there are so many other women that are just inspired by women that do want to have more, and they're actually showing, they're setting the way and the path to inspire other women to want to go out and achieve more from their life. So desiring more is what keeps me, and I know a lot of my clients, really focused on those goals, really driven, and always looking for other ways to hit goals. And I think even when you have things that don't go according to plan, if you have launches that maybe fail, or you don't get that client, or that person doesn't come back to you like to book another session or whatever it is, there's always then other ways around it, and wanting to find it right, okay, that didn't go according to plan, what could I do differently? And just having that kind of mindset with really helping you to scale your business in a way that you're not then focusing on the negatives as being a negative thing. Like every setback in your business should be an opportunity to learn and evolve and adapt to like what's happening. Like the online space is changing all the time. There is no like set path, like there's no strategy that you could have in place now that is going to continue to work for you. Like you have to be adapting and evolving. And I think this desire for wanting more really helps with that, because it means that you're always looking outside of yourself and outside of the current path that you're on, the current goals and the strategies that you've got, to see, right, this isn't working anymore, or that has never worked. Like, what could I do to change it and see what does work? Or maybe you've got something like a process that has always worked up until now. Like maybe you're at a point in your business where something that you have repeatedly done over and over again, it's always worked really well for you, suddenly isn't working so well, that then having this desire for wanting more helps you to then step back and think, right, what could I do differently? What can I learn from this experience to enable me to go and get these results in a different way? And it's all about being an entrepreneur, is all about testing. Like it's seeing what works, because like I said, there's no set path that works for everybody. And what might work for one person might not work for somebody else. And you might even have the same business as somebody. You might have the same ideal client, but our energy levels, our mindset, our like how we speak, how we show up, things that are aligned to us will be different. Our values will be different. So you can't have one strategy for all businesses. And this is why if there is anybody out there that is selling, like, I know the strategy that's going to do this, that, and the other for you, that might have worked for them. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. They might know a strategy that has worked for them and they can help teach you that to see how it works for you, or it might give you some pointers or direction to help you create your own strategy with the support of a mentor, or if you're doing it yourself. But it's not going to implementing every single one of those steps in exactly the same way doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the same outcome that that person had. But always having this desire for more really does help you to be focus driven and always looking for other ways to hit those goals. So for me, I really want to be able to create more freedom, more wealth, more success. It's rooted deep within me. And I think as somebody that grew up like not having all the money in the world, like yes, we had lovely holidays. A lot of them were paid for by my grandparents. My parents didn't have a huge like ton of money to go and spoil us with all these amazing things. Like we were never hard done by. Like we always got amazing presents for birthdays and stuff. We weren't spoiled all year round. Like I never wanted anything. We had everything that we needed, but we certainly weren't like a wealthy family. And I think there's nobody in my family that is an entrepreneur. Like there's nobody that has this sort of mindset of wanting to go out and create your own business. A lot of people will work for like other businesses, or they're just sitting underneath somebody, and it's just that just never felt aligned to me and who I was. But it was just this inner passion that I've always had to be able to go and create my own path and my own success. And I guess that's like the fiery Aries side in me, like being very driven. Like if anybody tells me that I can't do something, I am going to go and show them or prove to them that I can do it, and I will do it like a million times over. And I don't know if that's where when a teacher told me at school, like I wouldn't get a creative job unless I went to university. I'm not even sure prior to that if I was that driven in terms of wanting to set my own path. But that one comment has always stuck with me. And if anybody tells me I can't do something, I'm going to prove you wrong. So I don't know if it was that one thing that that teacher said that actually made me think, you can't tell me that. Like, I am now going to go and prove you wrong. And that's exactly what I've done. Like I said, if that teacher hadn't have said that to me, maybe I wouldn't be sat here now recording a podcast episode. Maybe I wouldn't have my own business. Maybe I would be quite happy in a 9 to 5 or part-time role. Maybe I'd be really happy being just a full-time mum and not needing more. I don't know. But it just really triggered something inside me. And it has always pushed me forward into like, right, I need more, I need more, I need more, I need more. But like whatever it is that I'm doing, I've always been really driven into wanting more of whatever it is. It's just rooted so deep within me. And I think for so many people, there'll be people that are listening to this right now, maybe you're one of them, that is perhaps feeling a bit triggered by me saying that I want more, because you might be thinking, but you've got everything. Like you've got an amazing business, and you've got the family, and you've got the husband, and you've got the house, and all of this stuff. And you might be thinking, how could you want more? Like you've got everything that you could possibly have imagined. And that is so true. When I actually look back of what I wanted from life as a teenager, I wanted a detached house. I wanted to have 3 or 4 children. I wanted to have a husband that loved me. I wanted to have a job that I was passionate about. Like these were the things I wanted. And I'm like literally living that life. Like there's nothing about what I'm doing now that actually as a teenager that I didn't want. Like, I've got everything that I wanted, but I just always want to move those goalposts and really push myself, because that's what drives me. I'm not sure I will ever get to a point in my life where I don't want more. And that's not saying that I'm not satisfied and happy with what I've got. I'm extremely satisfied and happy. But that doesn't mean that I just want to be like, right, I've achieved that now. I don't need to do anything. I'm just going to sit back and let everything just sort of just carry on as it is. Like I just always want to be pushing myself to that next level and really hitting those next goals that I've set for myself. Like my goal for 2024 has been about really boosting my own visibility. Last year, 2023 was all about networking, really finding who I am, like connecting with other like-minded people. I went to loads of networking events and met some incredible women who are now a really big part of my life, and we support each other all the time. I've got a couple that have already done podcast episodes with me. I've got Some more podcast episodes coming up, like collaborations that we've worked on together. Like that really helped me to grow my business and figure out exactly the path that I want to be taking. But what I really, really wanted was to be focusing more on my visibility and doing, like, I've obviously launched my podcast this year. Like, that was something I wanted to do. I'm writing my first book this year. Whether that will be out in 2024, I don't know. But I'm taking my time with it. I'm writing down notes as and when I feel inspired. I'm not putting the pressure on myself to think, right, I need to write my first chapter today, or I need to do this chapter today, or I need to edit that bit, or send that off, or whatever I'm doing. I'm literally just going with the flow with my book, but making sure that I'm pushing myself out of my comfort zone by doing things like a podcast episode. Like the very first podcast episode I recorded a few weeks ago, I had to really psych myself up to do it. I put so much pressure on myself to do it. And actually, one thing that did put me off doing it initially was I listened to a training by Jenna Kutcher, actually, who is the absolute queen of podcasts and Pinterest. If you don't follow her, go and check her out. So Jenna actually mentioned about how the very first podcast episode that you record is the most important one because it's the one that most people will go back and listen to because they won't, like with a box set that you would watch, you're going to want to listen to that very first episode and go from there. And that those words that she said really sat with me. And actually, one of my can't speak, one of my photographer friends, Amanda, who's going to be coming on a podcast soon, has said exactly the same thing. So I feel very guilty that I've actually mentioned that to her now. I take it back, Amanda, if you're listening. Um, so putting that pressure on ourselves really can sort of hold you back. But I just made sure, like, I smashed through that glass ceiling I'd set for myself. I was like, I have to just overcome it and do it. It's the same as the very first time you show up doing a live, the first time you go to a networking event and introduce yourself, the first time you host an experience or an event for other people where you're talking in front of other people. I did that for the first time this week or last week now. I have a desire in me to speak on stage. So whilst I'm not at that point yet in terms of my confidence, that is something I've set myself as a goal. Like I want to speak on stage and have the confidence to do it. And working on all my confidence and blocks and limiting beliefs and everything are going to help me get onto that stage. So it will happen. I will make myself do it. And that in itself, like I know every single time you break through these barriers and you push yourself for wanting more and overcoming any blocks that you've got, it helps you to not only boost your confidence, it helps you to boost your visibility, it helps you to boost your impact that you're going to have. Like your next level will not happen if you don't step outside your comfort zone. You have to be evolving and really breaking through those glass ceilings that you set for yourself. So whether it is an income ceiling you've got, maybe it is the total number of clients that you could possibly take on. Maybe that means that if you've hit a point where you cannot physically take on more clients because you're at full capacity, breaking through that by creating things like recurring revenue options where you're doing group programs and meaning you're actually able to take on more clients, but as a group capacity. So it's not the one-to-one support. Like smashing through these ceilings, these blocks that you put in place for yourself really does help you to take your business to that next level. So wanting more does not make you greedy. It really doesn't. And I think it's just so important to take that away from this episode that if you want more, you can say that. Like you can actually say that out loud, like that you want more. Having that desire for more in your life, whatever that more may be, more success, more wealth, more freedom, more clients, or whatever it is, does not make you greedy. It makes you ambitious. It makes you really focused and driven to get that next level in your business and get those incredible results, not just for you as a person, as an entrepreneur, but for those that you love, the lifestyle that you want to achieve, like all of these things in your life that you are passionate about. It's going to help you to actually achieve that. And anybody in your circle that feels triggered by you sharing this kind of thing, it might just be you've kind of outgrown that circle of friends or that particular person, and that's okay. Your friendship groups will change and evolve every time you break through like an income goal or anything in your business. There will be people that are triggered by it and just don't feel like they're aligned to where you're at because they're not where you're at. They can't relate. to what it is that you're desiring. So maybe you're someone that is currently desiring a six-figure income, maybe a seven-figure income, and yet you've got friends that are currently capping at like the one, maybe two, maybe 5K months, and just that income ceiling is just not even on their radar or on their wish list or anything, and they just cannot relate to where you're at right now. Like, that is okay to pull yourself away from those. It doesn't mean you're not going to be friends with them or you're not going to have any kind of connection with them. You're not literally ditching them and saying, bye, see you later. But you do need to surround yourself with people that are going to empower you to actually break through these ceilings and these blocks and not worry about what other people think about what your goals are and your like dreams are for what it is that you want in your lifestyle. And it's this exact reason why I don't share half of my goals with some of my circles of friends, because they just would not be able to relate to it. None of them are entrepreneurs themselves. They don't have their own business. So it's the kind of information that I'm only going to share with those in my audience that are following me because of me being an entrepreneur and because they are inspired by me or they want to find out more about growing their own business. Like, I'm not just going to suddenly meet up with a group of mum friends and say, oh, guys, by the way, I'm really going for a six figure salary. Like, that's just not going to relate to them. So it's making sure that you've got like people in your world, in your circle, that are going to empower you to keep going for more. People that are ahead of you in their business, in their goals, in their success are never going to put you down or tell you that something's not achievable. They will be saying to you, you can absolutely do it. Like, if I can do it, you can. Like, that's the kind of people that you want to really circle yourself with. Wanting more freedom does not mean that you're not ready and willing to do hard work. So when I say about I want to have more freedom in my life, that just means that I want to have more time to travel, more time with my kids, like more time where I'm not in on mode, creating content, all of this kind of thing. But that doesn't mean that I'm never going to do all that stuff. It just means that I'm going to time block and really focus on, right, during this time, at this time of the week, this is when I do this is when I do that. And right now, structuring my days like that doesn't work for me. I've got a 2.5-year-old that means that no time structure will work. Like, I very much have to go with the flow and work around them. And that's part of my journey. And that is what inspires a lot of other mum bosses in my circle to want to work with me, because I can relate to them. I know what it's like when you've got a 2-year-old having a massive tantrum when you're about to go on and do a Zoom live. Like, I know what it's like when people are telling you constantly, you need to go live, you need to go live to boost your visibility. And again, you've got a 2-year-old screaming its head off every single time you press that go live button. I get it. Like, I am living that life. But there's other ways of boosting your visibility. There's ways of creating a business strategy that works for you at the life stage that you are at right now. And for me, time blocking my day down to the hour does not work, because I need flexibility in my life. And that works for me. I don't put loads of pressure on myself. I work really, when I'm working, I'm working. I'm putting 110% into whatever it is that I do. But also, I'm making sure that I'm allowing myself time to step back from my business and be fully focused on my kids. Like, so if I am spending time with them at the weekend or whatever, that's what we're doing. That doesn't then mean I'm not gonna, like, right now, I'm recording this episode, it's a bank holiday and it's 20 past 7 in the evening when the kids are about to go to bed. This has just been a really good opportune moment for me to be able to have time to record this episode while my husband's downstairs with the kids. It doesn't mean that I'm then not putting my full focus on them, because we've had the whole day together to do stuff together. It means that, like, I'm going to get to do bedtime with the kids and have that quality time. And we've got time, they're off on their Easter holidays at the moment. So we've got loads of day trips and all that stuff planned. So it's just being a bit more strategic with when I work. But it doesn't then mean, like, I've now got the freedom that I can go and do that. I've got the freedom to be able to go and spend time with my kids without thinking, like, I need to work because I need a client and I need money. It's actually working in a way that works for my lifestyle, gives me that freedom to spend time with my kids, gives me the freedom to record an episode like right now that I'm doing, which is going to take me half hour to 40 minutes. And then I can just upload this as and when over the next couple of days. Like, I'm not putting the pressure on myself. I don't have to do that right now. and really restricting myself, because all that is going to do, especially when you have young children, is set you up for failure. You may time block your life and hit all those goals, even with young children around, but the reality of that is that it's quite slim. That is unlikely to happen on the daily. So making sure that this desire for wanting more is achievable, is actually like focusing on the fact that, like, I know come September when my little boy starts nursery, 5 days a week in the morning, I know I'm then going to have that time in the morning to have the freedom to do what I want with that without the restriction of like having to entertain my little boy during those times. So it might be I have one of those days where I go for a 2 hour dog walk, and that's just me time, where I plug into a podcast and listen to it, or I literally just enjoy being in nature. It might be that 5 days a week for those 2 hours while he's in nursery, that's my working time, and I do not work for the rest of the day. But it's having that flexibility and that drive that helps me to keep going and really pushing through any barriers and blocks that I've got, because I'm making sure that my business works for me, for my goals, for my desires, and the lifestyle that I want, and actually stepping into that kind of lifestyle now so that I can create a business that just flows effortlessly into the kind of path that I want it to go in. And this is what I really empower my clients to be doing, and why I absolutely love working with clients one-to-one, because everybody is different. Everyone's lifestyle is different. So if I'm doing a group program, there may be someone in there that's got a newborn baby that physically could not have the time to do all of the things that I'm suggesting you implement, versus someone whose children are in full-time education or have like grown up and moved out. Like, it's just making sure that everything that you set for yourself feels right. It has to feel in alignment with your goals and your vision and your values and everything. So I hope this podcast episode has inspired you to not only go for more and really push yourself out of your comfort zone and go break through those glass ceilings that you're perhaps setting for yourself. I hope it's inspired you to realize that wanting more does not make you greedy. It's not a bad thing. It's actually a really empowering thing that is going to inspire other people to follow you in your journey, and it's going to open up new doors for you and create that impact and that wealth and the freedom and whatever it is that you want. So I hope you have taken away some really valuable insights and stuff from this episode. I would love to know what you think. If you have enjoyed this episode, please do give me a bit of feedback in the reviews. Let me know. Follow me on Instagram. You can find me at Jacquie Laws, which is spelled Jacquie. You can find me on there. Drop me a DM. I would love to know how this has helped you. Like, I love having chats in my DMs. I'm always open to having conversations with people. So if this has really helped you today, do let me know. And I look forward to giving you some more amazing content in the next episode. Take care, guys. Thank you for listening to this podcast episode. If you're ready to unlock the secrets of building your own personal brand, head over to my website, baileyandrue.com, where you can grab my free Brand Brilliance Blueprint today. It's your roadmap to success in the world of branding. And hey, let's stay connected beyond the podcast. Follow me on Instagram at baileyandrue for daily inspiration, behind the scenes insights, and exclusive content to fuel your brand journey. See you there.